Hi guys, it's Spiltmongo3 here today, and I'm going to be teaching you how to improve your game with the new Apex Legends Catalyst. This video will be broken up into 3 sections: how to use her abilities, playstyles and strategies, and finally loadouts that I would recommend. I'm also going to mention a few counters to her abilities and how to best play against her. But just before we get into it, I would just like to remind you that these are my own opinions, so if you've got your own tips, you're more than welcome to comment them down below. And without further ado, let's start off with section 1, abilities. As with all legends in Apex, Catalyst has a passive, tactical and ultimate ability, which are immensely powerful for defending locations. The passive is called Barricade and it allows you to reinforce doors. This might not sound useful at first, however this can actually be very useful in close combat situations, especially because we're currently in a close range meta. Barricade allows you to add 2 hits to doors, or it can be placed in a doorway. It also prevents the doors from being opened by enemies. However, you can only use this on 2 doors at the same time, which does balance it quite a bit. And you do need to remember that the barricading ability isn't instant, and there's a half a second delay. Piercing Spikes is Catalyst's tactical ability, and you can place 3 of these down at the same time, and have 2 charged up in your inventory. The Spike Trap is not activated until an enemy gets close, and it cannot be destroyed unless activated. This means that it cannot be sniped or taken out from long range, so attacking squads are going to have to get in close to shoot the floating ball, which destroys the trap. The traps have 300 HP each, so they are pretty strong and won't be taken down too easily. And finally, we have Catalyst's ultimate ability, Dark Veil. This creates a massive ferrofluid wall that slows and blinds enemies that pass through it. It can also be shot through, but obviously they'll be blind firing. Although the wall is pretty tall, it can be jumped over using movement abilities like Horizon's Tactical or Octane's Jump Pad. I'd also recommend using Dark Veil to create choke points or to prevent pushes. It also blocks all scan abilities, so it counters Tracker Legends. Okay, now we've got the abilities out the way, it's time to move on to section 2. Playstyles and strategies. One of the most important things to remember when playing as and against Catalyst is that you are invulnerable to all enemy Catalyst abilities, apart from the door barricade. This means that you can't be hurt by spikes or slowed down by the wall. However, this does go both ways, so be wary when fighting an enemy squad that has a Catalyst in it, as they won't be affected by your abilities. Personally, I do see Catalyst as a controller type legend, and obviously excels at locking down buildings. However, she does seem to be a bit more versatile than Caustic and Wattson, and her abilities can be used pretty much on the fly and don't require lots of setup. It will take a lot of practice to be able to throw the spike trap and be able to hit someone at a distance, so most of its utility will be in blocking doorways and entrance points. So when someone is forced to shoot it, you hear gunfire and their location is revealed. And when placing the spike trap, remember that when you create it, the direction of the patch is flipped. So when you set it up facing forward, it will set up horizontally and vice versa. So as Catalyst's abilities are pretty versatile, you can choose to play her solely on the defensive, or you can be a bit more aggressive and use her ultimate to provide visual cover when your team is pushing some, and then use the spike traps to slow down fleeing enemies, or add just that little bit of advantage when in a 1v1 firefight. Finally guys, we have loadouts. As you're going to probably be using Catalyst up close and personal with enemy squads, I'd ignore snipers altogether. Obviously you can take them, but I just don't think they'd be that effective when using. I'd personally recommend taking close to mid-range weapons such as the Flatline or Spitfire, something that you can kind of use to plow down incoming enemies, and then I'd pair that up with a very close range weapon like a shotgun or an SMG. I'd personally recommend a Mastiff or R9, but if you struggle with the R9's recoil, I'd take an alternator. These weapons pair really well with all of Catalyst's abilities because they slow enemies down and make it really easy to whip out your shotgun and land some nice shots. Even the passive barricade ability is going to be really useful to outplay enemies, so you can pop out when they're least expecting it and then get the jump on them. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.